Real quick, I wanted to hop on because time is short, unfortunately. But I received word from my wife earlier today about some troubling or unsettling uh, developments from our president and the stuff going on in Iran. First off, Easter or Resurrection Sunday, we were greeted with a lovely message about open the bleeping gate, or straight, excuse me, open the bleeping straight, and a bunch of other expletives on there and threats. Right before a lot of churches that day were about to celebrate and sing praises to Yeshua over his conquering of the grave. And then there's the next truth social post or tweet or X post, whatever you call it, about how he was saying that by tonight, Eastern Standard Time, tonight's being April the, I believe today's the 7th. It's been a long day, but that a whole civilization will be erased from the map if he doesn't get his demands met, which is very concerning. That language, specifically, if you've watched my content recently, you've seen where I pull up in Deuteronomy chapter 20 the Torah framework for war. And the issue with that is that when you approach a city to besiege it, this is speaking specifically to Israel, but we can extrapolate some of the core tenets, as it were. We can extrapolate that. But whenever you approach a city to besiege, you shall first offer it terms of peace. And then if they reject or they accept the terms of peace, then they'll be your forced labor. You'll enter the city. They'll be spared. But if they don't, then, at that point, then you'll besiege the city. Okay, so that's where we're at. And it also speaks, don't harm the trees. Don't harm the women, the children. Leave this innocence alone. But no, we're going to go immediately and start threatening civilian infrastructure, that we're going to take out bridges, power plants, or leave those people that are in the desert without power, ways to get water and transportation of food and stuff. That's no. That goes against the Torah framework on war. So that's a violation of that. So why is he acting like this? Why is he saying these things? It could be a political version of some type of strategy. I'm not going to say that I'm a strategy person that knows all this stuff. I'm not. And thanks for the like, but I have no. I'm not a strategist on this. But when it comes to specifically the issue, why is he acting like this? There's something that popped up in my head or in my spirit earlier, and I'm not going to say that this is a direct revelation from God. I'm not a prophet. I'm not going to say that. However, what I'm going to say is that there are some correlations here historically that are a little concerning. Now, the issue is that there is a spiritual leader in the White House, the pastor Paula White. Paula Kane White. I'm not sure how her name goes. But the concern here is she said back in 2017, I looked this up because when my wife told me about this, I was like, there ain't no way. There is a way, and the internet remembers. That using the chapter in Romans where it says that God appoints leaders and rulers, so if you go against Trump, you're going against God. Okay? Yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense because he turns everything to work for the good of those who love him or called according to his purpose. He does appoint all the rulers because he is the ultimate authority. But he did very much so go after and judge many countries and many people. So you compare that, or you couple that, with the most recent event where Paula White has now taken, and good morning, and Shalom, but where she went and compared him to Yeshua, saying that he was wrongfully accused, he was wrongfully imprisoned, he was almost taken out. No, God forbid that anyone was taken out. But you couple that together, so now it gives a kind of a messianic kind of complex here. But the issue here that I'm seeing is it reminds me a lot, and this worries me, of King Ahab and Jezebel. where are we getting that? Now, there are some correlations here that are very concerning. We're taking the religious or the spirituality and we're taking and coupling that with the political force that is Trump. He is a force. He's doing a lot of good. He's doing a lot of bad. He's kind of a loose cannon. You can find this all in 1 Kings, 2 Kings, but you can't go and say that those things were going to go and take out an entire nation because they're getting rid of oil supply. You can't do that. Now, Ahab, he wasn't specifically the most evil king in Israel. He wasn't exactly the strongest either. So what we need right now in America, and we're kind of seeing a little bit of it popping here and there, but we need our Elijahs to speak up and to speak out. And specifically, when those Elijahs begin to become more concerned and upset and they start to retreat, because it can get taxing at times when you have a lot of people around telling you that you're wrong. Don't speak out against the person in power, because you speak against Trump, you're speaking against God. No, because if that were the case, Elijah wouldn't have said anything either, because Ahab was, quote, appointed by God too. You're allowed to speak up. You're allowed to, to critique those that are in power. That's okay. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't. But when the Elijahs of our nation begin to get weary and saddened, and let's be real, Elijah got depressed to the point that he was wanting to, be taken up to heaven and just be ended. We need the remnant to rise up. We need the remnant to rise up, the remnant to speak out, to call what we see as what we see, that this is not right. This war that's going on is... Iran did some horrible things. Yes. Iran has done a lot of oppression. Yes. Does it demand that entire civilization be wiped out? No. When was the last time that was allowed? When God said so. And has anyone heard anywhere that say, thus saith the Lord, thou shalt wipe out Iran? No. There are, I think I heard today, over 1 million something Christians over there right now. We're going to wipe them out too? No. You can't do that. That's wrong. When you approach a siege of a siege, you just focus on the soldiers, just focus on the army. If that's what your issue is, worry about that. But we're having this issue where he's acting like Ahab, and this Jezebel spirit is showing up and encouraging him. So again, if you're listening to this, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, reach out to your leadership in your area, your congressmen, your senators, whomever, and tell us, listen, something's wrong. This 8 p.m. deadline tonight, it's wrong. Don't do that. There is a lot on the line. There are lives on the line. There are souls on the line. So please pray for Trump, that he makes the right decision. Pray for our leaders that they make the right decision. Pray for Israel that they make the right decision. Pray for Iran that they make the right decision, because we need this conflict to end, because the image bearers on all sides are being lost. And that is something that we should never condone. So Shalom, thank you for joining me. And I look like the guy from The Office. Thank you, I guess. I hope that's a good compliment. Unless if it's Dwight. If it's Dwight, that's a little bit of an issue. But hey, it is what it is. Anyway, Shalom, everybody. Thank you for joining on. And I'll see you again next time on The Graham's Promise.